Well, let's bring on now our next panel, Andy Taggart, Jere Nash, and Dr. Marty Wiseman. Let's hear them for them. All right. Now, you know that Jere Nash and Andy Taggart have written a couple of books, Mississippi Politics, The Struggle for Power, and Mississippi Fried Politics. And, of course, we've had them talk about those books here in the past. And, of course, you'll hear them every now and then on the radio. You'll see them on television. And they are the yin and yang of politics. A Democrat, Jere Nash, has a long political career in addition to serving as chief of staff, and so does Andy Taggart, but he was on the Republican side. So they bring two unique perspectives, and then to kind of corral these two and to referee is Dr. Marty Wiseman, the head of the Stennis Institute for Government. And I got to tell you, we enjoy working with Marty. He does a lot of good research for the future of Mississippi, and is also, thank goodness, taking care of my son, Nicholas, who's a PhD student at Mississippi State. So I'm very, very glad to have Marty around to kind of keep my son in control. So with that, I'm going to turn the program now over to Dr. Marty Wiseman, and let's hear a round of applause again. Dr. Marty Wiseman, Jere Nash, and Andy Taggart.
Thank you very much, Blake. And I will put in a plug for the book. I teach Mississippi government and politics, and it's adopted by my class. Somewhere when I'm not there today, there's a student studying that book. So I would tell you, if you want to have the recent history of two-party politics in Mississippi, you need to get a copy and put it by your chair or by the commode where you can read snippets of it. It covers the waterfront, and I highly recommend it. I'm glad I'm on stage with two people whose party affiliation is known, so that they don't have to beat around the bush. They can just tell it like it is. And in that regard, I know we've got limited time. I want to start off by asking about partisan politics. The two of you are the poster children for the Democrats and Republicans, respectively. Second only to the curiosity of how James Carville and Mary Matlin get along and sleep in the same bed together. How do you two get along in today's hyper-partisan environment?
What gave you the notion that we get along? You know, when they asked us to do this and told us that Dr. Wiseman was going to be the moderator, I was really kind of freaked out because, you know, great brain power, great knowledge of Mississippi politics, and great mind on Mississippi history, and I was frankly a little intimidated about being on the same platform with him, but then I remembered I had Nash up here to sort of balance him out, so it works out just fine. Actually, I'm one of those people who does not believe that partisanship is a bad thing. In fact, I believe that it's in the clash of ideas in the marketplace that we get closer to good decisions. Not always the right decision, and very, very rarely perfect decisions, but we get closer to good decisions, I think, when ideas clash hard in the marketplace. What I think we all have to fight really hard against, though, is allowing those of us who hew very strongly to ideas, and Jere and I both do, and we disagree on most of them, that folks who hew very strongly to ideas not fall prey to the temptation to suggest that because I think you have a bad idea, you must be a bad person too. And the demonization of our political opponents in the marketplace, in my judgment, is one of the gravest ills that we face in American politics.
I'm the only guy up here who, when I stand up, is still shorter than these two guys sitting down. So I think I'm going to stand up most of the time. Marty, to answer your question, how do Andy and I get along? We get along because my 16-year-old son views Andy as a second father. And it's to the point, ladies and gentlemen, which I will make a full and complete admission to you. Last year, he bought my son a gift membership into the NRA. He's taken him hunting and he's taken him pistol shooting, but I want everyone to know that when the renewal came up this year, Andy said, "Jere, are you going to send him a check?" And I said, well, if Oliver says he wants to renew, then I'll send him a check. So y'all should all know that the NRA now has a check from Jere Nash for $25 in the treasury of their account.
Your book, Mississippi Politics, very accurately captures the evolution of two-party politics in Mississippi. I want you to briefly outline the next chapter. Andy, what is in the cards for Haley Barbour, and what will be the future of the Mississippi Republican Party in the absence of his unifying presence? And Jerry, who or what will be the salvation of the Mississippi Democratic Party?
Those are not easy questions, and I don't have any specific insight into the governor's thinking at all. I will tell you that my judgment is, if I had to guess after 2012, if there's a Republican in the White House after the 2012 elections, my guess, which is all it is that Haley Barbour would be the chief of staff in the White House. That's just one man's guess. You know, governors make excellent presidential chiefs of staff. Haley Barbour really knows as much about American politics and the thinking of the American people as anybody on the scene today. And any president on our side who would be elected would be very well served to have him in that sort of a role. So that's just one man's uneducated guess. As for what next for the Mississippi Republican Party after Governor Barbour has moved on to whatever he chooses next, I guess my answer would be, we'll sort of never be without Haley Barbour. You know, Haley Barbour's fingerprints have been on the formation of the Mississippi Republican Party since its earliest days in our state. He was executive director for a period of time, national committee man for a period of time, now governor, which of course is the head of the party and the way that we run our structure, but effectively will continue to be very influential in what happens in Mississippi Republican politics, indeed nationwide, for as long as he cares to be, which I suspect will be for the rest of his life. So I think that we'll see an awful lot of the influence of Haley Barbour well into the future. But the final thing that I would say is that it's really the sign of the maturing of Mississippi Republican politics in our state, which essentially was born the year before I was. So it's a very, very still young party from a historical standpoint, that it's really a sign of the maturing of our party that we see now lots and lots of people whenever there's a political event whom I've never seen before. And so the influence of folks who have chosen to become Republicans as a consequence of the influence of Ronald Reagan and Kirk Fordyce and Haley Barbour, that's what will be the future of our party, I think.
What about the Democrats, Jerry?
What was your next question? I didn't see another question down there. For better or for worse, Mississippi is a very, very conservative state. And for better or for worse, elections nowadays are waged on national platforms and not local platforms. So as long as the National Democratic Party has the reputation that it does, as long as the National Republican Party has the reputation it does, it's very difficult for a Democrat in Mississippi to carry the baggage of the National Democratic Party and run a statewide or a district-wide election. That being said, Mississippians are a very forgiving people. And if they know the person who's running, and if the person who is running is able to articulate a platform that motivates people, by and large, they're willing to forgive the National Party attachment and vote for the person. Unless, of course, you live in DeSoto County, Rankin County, Pearl River County, Lamar County, Lowndes County, and probably 2 or 3 others, Madison County, maybe 2 or 3 others. But outside of those 10 or 11 counties, they're very forgiving Mississippians who will vote for Democrats if they know how to articulate the message that will motivate people. See, there are 3 of us out here. There are 3 of us. There you go. Thank you a lot.
Don't clap for him. It just eggs him on. Don't do that.
I know that everybody's waiting to hear what 2 party people think about the congressional election. First, the 1st district. Most people are labeling this a toss-up at some level. Jere Nash, why do you say that Congressman Childers will win? And Andy Taggart, why do you say that Senator Allen Nunley will win?
Yes, Jerry.
This is a very painful subject. You go first. I'm gonna. No, I can't do that. You go first.
All right. Here, I got to tell you, I really like and respect every one of the media representatives that was up here earlier. But come on, guys, your job is to tell us what you think is going to happen. I will tell you, I believe Alan Nunnally is about to be elected to the Congress in the 1st District of Mississippi. Now I'll tell you, 3 months ago, I would not have answered that question that way. And I'll also tell you that I really do, notwithstanding my partisan viewpoint and that I see the world through Republican lenses, I really do try to tell people what I really think is going to happen in politics. I really do think Alan Nunnally is about to win, and I think he's going to win with a pretty decent margin. I think that both on the basis of sort of objective factors, that is sort of, scientific measures, but also subjective factors. Just what we feel happening. And that even at this late date, people are still breaking toward our side of the ledger all over the nation, and I think even in the state of Mississippi. I think that if the election were held today, the margin would be narrower than it's going to be 5 days from now. We'll see.
I thought up until 10 days ago that Congressman Childers was doing okay. And then there was this ad that his campaign put up which had him describing for the voters of North Mississippi the 297 times that he had voted against Nancy Pelosi. Now, when a candidate is forced to debate an issue on his opponent's turf, you know they're in trouble. When the Republicans forced Travis Childers to have to answer this national charge about how supportive or not supportive he was of the speaker, you knew that he was in trouble. And for him to have put that up on the television signaled to everybody that I know that it was very, very close. I think the internal polling that I've seen, that I've been told, points it all to Election Day. It's all, Andy, it's all turnout. It's all whether people on the east side of the district turn out and support Travis Childers, whether folks on the west side of the district, typically who don't vote in mid-year elections, get out and vote. It's all about turnout, which I think makes it impossible to predict right now. So I'm gonna have breakfast.
You are such a wimp.
I'm gonna have breakfast at Sid Salter's Waffle House.
You don't even think that.
Well, I mean, there are 1,000 people here. I don't.
You are such a wimp.
The